first time we are making an appearance on the show since the end of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. Of course, we are now left with memories of that, the best that we've seen regarding that tournament. Welcome to Sports Africa. This is where we'll give you everything you need to know about football and other sports on the continent. My name remains Ashalulu. I have not changed since the AFCON ended. Kyle Ogundari and James, they are here. We have so much to talk about today, of course, from the fallout of the AFCON. Guys, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Femi. Good morning. It's a new day.
Yeah, thank you, Femi. Happy to be on today's edition after the long marathon covering the AFCON. So we're back to our usual. So let's get it started.
Okay, our fans across the world, how have you been? What have you been up to since it's almost a week now? But don't fret, we are back. Of course, we are starting the show today on a rather sad note. Of course, the Kenyan marathoner Kevin Kiptum, who died in a road accident alongside his coach, will be buried on February 24th in Kenya. Very sad one. He's been tipped to succeed Eliud Kipchoge. I'm sure you heard that news. Very sad one. Young man at 24, cut short, life cut short in his prime. Very sad one for Africa.
Well, regardless of whatever they do, whether they are sports people or not, it is not a good thing. Like, we are Africans, for young people to die in their prime, regardless of whatever it is they are doing, whether they are sports people, whether they are farmers or anything. So it's a sad one for Kenya, it's a sad one for the sport, and it's a sad one for Africa as a whole. So we commiserate with the family and with the government and people of Kenya.
Okay, James, do you have anything to say about Kiptum?
Yeah, it's a sad incident. It reminds me of our own Kayode Olu. I think
Oluyemi.
Yes, Kayode Oluyemi. I think he died. He's in the US, but back car accident too. He died in his prime too. So it's something similar, So it's unfortunate. Somebody who's just starting at 24. I mean, he has not even started anything yet. Just in his prime, and I mean, it's so unfortunate, So we just pray that God grant the family the fortune to bear the loss.
Okay, let's get started on the aftermath of the AFCON. Of course, they are still celebrating their third title. While Nigeria, so much is happening there this time. Thank God nobody's returning to the drawing board, because it seems there's no necessity for that now. But James, let's talk about the ranking. Yesterday, FIFA released the ranking, and it was very timely, very prompt. Now that AFCON just ended, and we saw a big leap from the Super Eagles of Nigeria. They are up by 14th. They attained their highest ranking in almost 16 years. And if you see, of all the 10 teams in Africa, the first 10 teams, they recorded the highest leap. Not even Ivory Coast had the highest. I should quickly run through the list for our fans out there. Morocco, of course, still 12th in the world, then first in Africa, just by one leap. Morocco took one leap. Then second, we have Senegal, 17th in the world, third in Africa. No, second in Africa, but they had only just 3 leaps. Even so, a lot of people are surprised because Senegal got knocked out of the competition in the round of 16. Then Nigeria, 20th in the world, third in Africa. Then 14 places, they jumped 14 places. Egypt is expected 36th in the world. Then they are fourth in Africa, and they dropped by 3 places. Of course, we're talking about that very clearly. But let's talk about it, James. Super Eagles of Nigeria, if they had won the title, perhaps they would have been first in the world, and maybe rather than being 28th, first in Africa, maybe rather than being 28th in the world, maybe they will have moved to maybe first 15 or thereabout.
Well, a good one for the Super Eagles. I can't remember the last time I saw them get good movement in the FIFA ranking. It's either they maintain a position or they drop. I mean, the last ranking before this one, I think they dropped from 30-something to 42nd. But, that's what a good, when you put strings of good wins together. I mean, look at the last AFCON. They won like 4-5 consecutive games. So that contributed heavily in their improvement in the rankings. So this is what we've been saying, that when you do well, when you put together a string of victories, that's what Senegal did before we know how long it took them to be number one on the continent because of consecutive wins. Before they now eventually won the AFCON, and the improvement kept going. So that's what we've been saying. Not that you go and play certain games and you'll be drawing against teams like Lesotho, Zimbabwe, teams that you expected. So that's it's a good one. I just hope that they will build on this, because it helps. It helps many ways, and just goes to show that they did very well at the AFCON, and it reflected in the FIFA ranking. 14 places. It's no mean feat at all.
Okay. Of course, we'll still be talking about the ranking, but Kyle, let's talk about Super Eagles. It seems of all the teams that played at the AFCON, a lot of aftermath is taking place in Nigeria, because before we came on the show, before we got started, we were talking about the reward. They met with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They got a house, they got a plot of land in the FCT in Abuja. And a lot of people are saying that they also got a national award, which is a MON. And some are saying the MON is the list of all the national awards, and such should not be reserved for sports heroes. They say if politicians who, in quotes, some say they are unscrupulous, get some of the highest national award, then why would you reserve the list for the players? And then the reward, some people are saying that money should have accompanied all the reward, the plot of land, the national award, because South Africa got $52,000 each, Ivory Coast got $82,000 each, and in addition to getting a house in choice area. I think there's a particular area in Ivory Coast that is financial equivalent of the $82,000. So what's your reaction to all of this?
I think we're a nation of habitual complainers. The government will never get it right with the people. The team itself, all of a sudden, they are getting love now. They didn't see this kind of love in the immediate aftermath of the loss. So for me, I think it's beyond what people are saying now. It is about the recognition. See, when somebody gives you it, there's this joke by a popular comedian. He said, somebody is gifting you a cash amount of money, and you are counting it in his presence. So what exactly are you trying to do? That is not, if it's not complete, you're going to tell him to add, or you're going to return it to him. When the thing is when whatever is a gift, Femi, is not your place to say this is big or this is small. The government has done what I think they can do. What I just feel we should advocate for is that this should not be limited to footballers alone. For example, the female national basketball team, they've just qualified for the
Tigers. Yeah.
They have won the AFCON, the equivalent of football in the basketball.
3 times in a row.
They've won it 3 times back to back. I think 4 times now back to back. So I didn't see them get this kind of recognition. And when you begin to show that football owes a special, of course, I understand that Nigeria is a football crazy nation, but that does not mean we turn into orphans other sports. Basketball is as good as football. It has the same weight in what sport. You get only a medal if you get to the podium. You cannot win 2. The same way with football. As a matter of fact, there are other sports that you are sure of winning much more medals if you get to within to the podium. So for me, I just want other sports people to also have a share of these largesse, so that whenever they win anything for the country, they know that they are appreciated. We should be careful, Femi. Participating is not in the hope that you are going to get rewarded. Participating in itself, we should make it an honor. And the only way to make it an honor is to make sure that the process of participation is seamless. You let people know that they are doing something, they are carrying the hopes of the whole country. And when they do well, Femi, you reward them. When they don't do well, we appreciate and encourage them. That's the way I say it.
Okay. James, let's talk about Sadiq Umar. He actually almost aggravated what happened to Alex Iwobi. You remember that Alex Iwobi got bullied online, cyberbullying after the AFCON. A lot of Nigerians were not, they were displeased. A lot of Nigerians were displeased with his performance in Ivory Coast. And they went too far this time, I think, because we read that they went as far as tagging JJ Okocha, his uncle, about some of the derogatory statements directed at Iwobi. They tagged Okocha. They even tagged Okocha's children, and we saw that when they came in, when the Super Eagles came into Nigeria, it was even almost unceremonious because though they came in around 12 on the particular day they came in, and Iwobi and Osime refused to talk to journalists, and they got more bashing for that, for their attitude. But then Sadiq Kumar, we saw he came in, said whoever throws him online is going to add the person's parents in retaliation. That almost didn't sit well with a lot of Nigerians. So some are saying you can't quench a fire by starting another fire.
Well, for me, we all have a way of different way of trying
issues,
to.
right?
Yes, that's the way Umar believes that he can deal with the issue. One thing about bullies is when they come at you, they just want you to submit. Whatever they do to you, they don't want you to fight back. So well, I think because they feel footballers, they see footballers as a role model who should take anything that is thrown at them. So it gives many of these people this opportunity to always go beyond. I mean, what is it called? Iwobi is not the first. Remember what happened to Odion Igalo, that they had to leave the Super League before he came back because of this same issue. Because of the missed some scoring chances at the 2018 World Cup. They went after him. He went after his family and started throwing insults. And many players, apart from Nigerian players, we've seen a lot of other players from other parts of the world. But Umar, he came out to make his stance known that if you come at me, I will do the same. I will even go beyond. So I know when he started comparing himself with
Sorry, James. Isn't it even insane that he didn't play at the tournament and they went after him?
Yeah, and that's what people. I don't know. That's why sometimes people they tell that it's better to regulate the social media because there are so many. There are all kinds of people there. People who don't even have any business doing anything there, but they just feel that's the playground for them to just do their stuff, and because they are hiding behind the keyboard, they feel they can just throw a lot of anything, and the footballer will just take it and just keep quiet. But Umar Sadiq showed that if you give it to him, he's going to give you back the same food. That is not the type that we just shy away from being attacked. That is going to, so everybody have their way of dealing with this. And some people want to come out and say, "Oh, and you are a professional footballer, you should not allow this to happen." I mean, first of all, he's a human being. He has feelings, blood running in his veins. He reacts as a normal human being. Fine, he didn't play at the AFCON, but his teammates was being attacked. So it could be him the next time. So it's like he's throwing out a warning that if you come at me, I will even go beyond what we expect. So I mean, it's a sad one. It's very, very sad that see people coming after players, going after their families, and I feel that they can always get away with it. That the footballer will not say anything, So Umar Sadi just showed them that if you come at me, I will also come at you, and what I will see will be shocked. So I mean, I don't have any problem with it.
Quickly, let me both in Femi. I'm going to start by asking you a question. Why do we think that we are much more patriotic than these players? Why do you think we are more pained about the loss than the players? Why do we think that the players don't feel what we are feeling? Why do we think that they are not hurting the same way we are hurting, or even more? Because they realized what this win would have done for their careers. Because they realized that these 3 weeks they have put themselves in the transfer in the window of the world. They know that a win would have boosted their image. Do you see how Brentford have been shouting the praises of Onyeka in the past 3 weeks? Yeah. I guess they are seeing a different dimension to his game, courtesy of this AFCON. Of course, Onyeka would have wanted to win the AFCON going back to his club as African champions. I saw the video of Chukwueze when he got back to AC Milan, the way the players mobbed him. Imagine if he had won the title and not gone with a silver medal. These players they hurt more than some of us. Before they became players, before they started representing Nigeria, they were fans of the Super Eagles, fans of Nigerian football. Why do you think it's easy? It's okay to troll them, to threaten them with death threats, and threaten to burn down their houses, abuse their parents, abuse their family? Okocha's daughter had to come up online and say anybody who throws our dad will be blocked. Why do we make excuses for all these ill-bred people? You cannot tell me that you are more pained about the defeat than Iwobi. Iwobi shared. See, I've always told you, Femi, in particular, something. I said every time these boys leave their club, they get on the plane from point A to point B. They are putting their lives on the line. We saw the MD of Access the other day. He was going to watch the Super Bowl. He died. He never knew that was going to happen. So each time these guys get on the plane, they are putting their life line. Anything could have happened. It could have been their last day on earth. All of us, some of us will sit back in our houses, eating and drinking and form armchair critics. These boys are hurting. Let's be honest with ourselves. So we shouldn't encourage bad behavior by saying it's because the fans are hot. No, you are not much more hot than the player. The player was here. He felt it firsthand. So don't tell me about people being hurt about the loss. These are boys that have left their family for a month. They didn't see their family. You are with your wife. You are with your kids. Every day you see them. They went there to represent us. And when things don't go their way, we think it's okay to abuse them. No, it's definitely not okay.
Okay, Kyle, let's talk about Jose Peseiro. He's been linked with the Algeria job because remember after the AFCON, after Algeria's disastrous campaign, of course, Jamil was dismissed. Now, the Algerian FA, they are looking at hiring Jose Peseiro while he's also waiting for his fate with the Nigerian Football Federation because his contract also expired with the AFCON. Now, what do you think at this point? I think we talked about it briefly after we reviewed the final, but do you think the NFF should renew Peseiro's contract or they should just let him go? Because it's going to be a decision between the NFF and the Sports Ministry, who will also be responsible for part of his salary.
Honestly, what I think is that I would want them to part ways. But then, in parting ways, the problem is, number one, the time it's going to take to get another coach because we are right in the middle of the World Cup qualifiers. Secondly, whoever is brought in will have to start all over again, Femi. And we have seen, even though we felt Peseiro did not start well, but we have seen a form of stability these past 3 weeks that they've been at the AFCON. All he needs to do is just to tweak this system, tweak it a bit, and keep on with what he has started. But if you're going to bring in somebody else, which there's no guarantee that you're going to bring somebody who is better than Peseiro, because like I have always said, Peseiro represents what we are able to afford as a country. Because Peseiro is the representation of what the NFF are able to afford as a country, because they will keep telling you they don't have money. So they are content to have somebody like Peseiro who doesn't mind being owed money whenever he's ready to leave. He knows how to get his money. He did it in his last national team job with Venezuela. So for me, I think it will be a good time to part ways, because if you don't part ways and you renew that contract, it could lead to the same scenario that we had with Genotro when his contract was renewed, and at the end of the day, things started falling apart. So, but how sure are we that we're going to quickly get a replacement? And the replacement, how does it quickly bed in with the players so that we do not lose much more ground again? We have lost 4 points already in the World Cup qualifiers, and don't forget the qualifiers for the AFCON will start almost immediately too. So that means we have a lot to do as a country. But you also have to consider that the Nigerian job will raise his profile, no doubt. The fact that he did well with the Nigerian team will make him a beautiful bride for those who want him. From Peseiro's point of view, he knows that if he leaves Nigeria, wherever he goes to work, he's going to get better paid. The salary will be higher than whatever he's getting in Nigeria. So he will want to go there. But the fact is, can he guarantee the kind of success relatively that he has gotten with Nigeria? Are you sure the Peseiro can take that Algerian team that we saw at the AFCON to the finals of the AFCON or any other competition for that matter. So it's a win, between a rock and the hard place for both the NFF and Peseiro.
Of course, and Algerians, they were so patient with Jamel because remember, I won 2019 AFCON, 2021 they failed to get beyond the group stages, and of course, this 2023 AFCON. Now, let Cameroon, we are still following the Cameroon situation because remember, we heard that Samuel Eto'o attempted to resign after the AFCON, but the football stakeholders in Cameroon, they rejected his offer, also to say, because they said they want him to see out his corruption case before they will determine his fate. Then also Rigobert Song, his contract will expire before the 2023 World Cup will resume. So it's a very, very night in Africa. Kyle and James, can you believe that Cameroon, they are ninth in Africa and 51 in the world? They dropped 5 places in the latest FIFA ranking. Now, James, I will ask you about the North Africans. We saw they had a disastrous campaign in Ivory Coast and Egypt. Egypt, they are 4th in Africa. They dropped down 3 places. Tunisia, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in Africa, and they are 41 in the world. They dropped down 13 places. Now, Algeria, 43 in the world. They are about 7th in Africa, and they dropped 13 places. James, this is not surprising because the Algerians, Ivory Coast was not favorable to them at all.
Well, Ivory Coast was not favorable to them. Also, the last AFCON too. I mean, that was not Ivory Coast. That was in Cameroon. So the signs have been there. So it's just a matter of time before everything will come to the glare that this team has passed its best. So it's like they'll just have to start all over again. I mean, this is not the first time it's happened to them.
Egypt got to the final in 2021.
Yeah, that's Egypt. We're talking about Algeria. So
I'm talking about the entire North African teams.
16, they got to the final the last edition, and this particular round of. So I think this AFCON just didn't do justice to them. They struggled all through. I don't know, maybe because of the weather condition. I don't know. Because I remember Egypt had won this AFCON on West African soil. Remember when they won it 2008 in Ghana? So it just shows that this AFCON, to me, one of the best, in short, the best, because there are so many things that we didn't expect to ruffle a lot of feathers, and we saw it. They cannot just blame the weather because there are so many teams who measured up. Algeria lost to Mauritania. Egypt had to rely on defeat to Ghana to even qualify. They managed to qualify. Tunisia lost to Namibia. So it was a general poor performance. Even Morocco even went further. It's not as if they were too fantastic.
Lost 2-0 to South Africa.
Yes, so for me, it was a general poor performance on the North Africans. They didn't live up to expectation at all. So they cannot just blame the fact that because it was played in North Africa. Even we've seen a situation whereby North Africa hosted and Nigeria won the AFCON in 1994, right there in North Africa. So I don't know. It's just so funny that all of them just as if they all conspired to just put up very poor performance. So for me, the next AFCON we hold in North Africa. So let's see what will come out of it. Maybe they will bounce back. They will be able to rebuild and play in the familiar terrain. So let's wait and see. Hopefully they would have learned the lessons. Because most of them they fell victim to most of these upcoming all these minus. They really dealt with them, and maybe they would just before the next AFCON they would have gotten themselves back.
Okay, so maybe North Africa will say whenever they host the AFCON, the West African side should just forget it because it's always theirs. Lastly, let's talk about South Africa. Very big leap for them in latest FIFA ranking. They jumped 6 places. They are 58th in the world and 10th in Africa. We saw you talked about Bruce, the element of coaching in this South African team, and it has impacted positively on the team. It's going to build their confidence going forward into their next 2026 World Cup qualifier against Nigeria in June. That is going to be massive.
Oh yeah, but the thing about the rankings is because it's point-based, Femi. So regardless of how good or bad you perform in a competition, it depends on what is the gap between you and the person ahead of you or the person behind you. We've seen teams that like Cameroon didn't do too well, but because of the gap that they had accumulated, the points they had accumulated previous to this
Over
competition,
time.
it was easy for them to remain among the top 10 teams in Africa. But we've seen that South Africa made a giant leap to be in the top 10. And I think this team, if they retain Hugo Bros, and I see no reason why they shouldn't, they have a very big future ahead of them. Although most of their players are on the other side, they are a bit on the other side. They are about around the average of 30 years old. But that in itself shouldn't be a big problem. It could be in the long run over a period of years, but in the immediate moment that we are, that could be a plus for them because that means they have had the experience, they have a lot of experience in the cumulatively in the team. So I think it's very exciting, and we should watch the group in which South Africa and Nigeria will be contesting for the World Cup ticket. That will be a very interesting group to watch, Remy.
Okay, of course, Ivory Coast, they jumped 10 places in the world. And of course, quickly, I'll see where they are now. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are fifth in Africa. And of course, according to CAF, 2 billion, almost 2 billion people around the world build the 2023 AFCON. 2 billion, that is almost like a quarter of the world population. That is impressive. Of course, Morocco will be hosting the rest of the continent in 2025. Don't forget our fans across the world. We told you that 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier will be resuming and not so distant from now. So what to talk about? Teams who want to carry their form at the AFCON into these qualifying matches. James and Kyle, thank you so much for always doing this for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Remy.
Yeah, thank you, Femi. See you in the next episode.
All right, okay. So on Monday, we'll be looking at the future of MS5, of course, the interim coach of the Elephants. If the Iberian FA should look at perhaps giving him a permanent contract, since Jean-Louis Gasset was fired during the AFCON. So that will form one of the things that I'll be looking at on Monday. So we'll see you all on the other side of the weekend. Have a fantastic weekend to yourself. I remain Asholo Lafemi. Thank you so much for your support. Please don't forget to follow Sport Africa. Click on the notification button so that you get video as soon as they drop. Thank you. Thank you for your support every time. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see you all on Monday. Bye for now.